Few things spark more passionate and intense conversation than a memorable, perhaps even controversial, ending to a film. Here we're going to highlight and analyze 5 endings to horror classics just in time for Halloween. They're unranked and in chronological order. Are they the 5 best horror endings of all time? Maybe, maybe not, but they're unforgettable, and they do inspire discussion. And the nice thing about conceding that they aren't necessarily the 5 best leaves room, of course, for more choices. Are any of these among your list of the 5 greatest endings to horror films? Let the debate begin. Alfred Hitchcock's adaptation of the Robert Bloch novel, yes, it began as a 1959 book, is arguably the first great modern horror movie. Not scary by today's standards and perhaps a bit slow for younger audiences, Hitchcock's meticulous filmmaking and camera work are sights to behold, and his killing off of the star, who was in almost every frame of the opening 50 minutes before her demise in one of cinema's most famous sequences, was groundbreaking. Norman Bates has become a cinematic and cultural icon, and Anthony Perkins' layered performance makes Norman intensely sympathetic, unsettling, and ultimately terrifying. When Norman is caught and the psychiatrist explains to the surviving principals what has happened and how Norman has become his dead mother, Hitchcock's floating camera takes us to the room where Norman is being held, and Mother shares her final thoughts. Combine it all with Bernard Herrmann's immortal score, and you have a masterpiece.
At times, he could be both personalities, carry on conversations. He was never all Norman, but he was often only Mother.
They'll put him away now, as I should have, years ago. And in the end, he intended to tell them I killed those girls and that man. Oh, they know I can't even move a finger. They're probably watching me. Well, let them. I'm not even going to swat that fly. I hope they are watching. They'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
More bad films have been made of Stephen King's work than good ones, but the first one, from King's debut novel, is one of the best. Brian De Palma gives King's story the star treatment, and his tour de force directing combined with great performances from Sissy Spacek, John Travolta, Nancy Allen, William Catt, and Amy Irving have made this movie a bona fide classic. Spacek's Carrie is a social outcast who is endlessly bullied by her peers and her religious fanatic mother alike, but she discovers she has telekinetic powers, and she uses them to assert herself. Irving's character tries to atone for past wrongs by convincing her boyfriend, played by Catt, to take Carrie to the prom, but a prank leads to disastrous and deadly consequences. The dreamlike walk by Irving to the site of Carrie's destroyed house ends up being just that, a dream, and the shocking nature of the scene has us screaming and then breathing heavily with relief. It has been imitated countless times, even by De Palma himself. Writer-director John Carpenter took a simple premise and $300,000, equivalent to $1.5 million today, and made one of the biggest independent box office hits of all time. His story of the evil killer Michael Myers returned $70 million in receipts, about $350 million today. It works because of the flawless pacing and arguably the greatest use of jump scares in movie history. There's not a single drop of blood, yet the film is terrifying. Michael Myers, as Donald Pleasence's psychiatrist tells us, is pure evil, and his description of Michael having black eyes, a doll's eyes, reminds us of the shark in Steven Spielberg's Jaws. Myers, after spending 15 years in a mental institution without speaking a word, escapes on Halloween Eve and heads home to Haddonfield, Illinois. For reasons unknown, he terrorizes Jamie Lee Curtis's high school babysitter character and her friends. It was a masterstroke by Carpenter to cast 19-year-old Curtis, the daughter of Janet Leigh and the star of Psycho, in the lead role. Myers seemingly cannot be stopped, at least until Pleasance shoots him 6 times at the end, causing Myers to fall over a balcony and to the ground 2 stories below. It should be the end of it, right? Yes. But are we really shocked to see what Pleasance ultimately sees?
Was the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Frank Darabont, renowned for his Stephen King adaptations, most famously The Shawshank Redemption, directs this thriller about a mysterious mist that envelops a New England town following a severe thunderstorm. King doesn't say why in his book, but Darabont tells us it is connected to a secret military project, and we come to find out that there are terrifying and deadly creatures, some might say monsters, in that mist. Thomas Jane plays an artist who becomes trapped with his son in a supermarket as the creatures assault the store, and fear and paranoia dangerously change social dynamics inside. What happens comes as no real surprise, at least until Jane, his son, and 2 others escape in a car. The mist and the hopelessness appear endless, and when the car runs out of gas, they decide that nothing can be done except to end things on their own terms. Jane uses the last 4 bullets in his gun on the others before stepping out of the car to let the creatures take him. But what he finds devastates him and all of us. It's an episode of The Twilight Zone, dialed up to 11.
Come on! Come on!
Writer-director Ari Aster, as he shows here in his feature film debut and again in his follow-up Midsommar, knows how to make creepy, weird, unsettling horror thrillers. Toni Collette anchors this one with an amazing performance. She plays an artist whose mother, with whom she had a strained relationship, has just died. She becomes distant. Her son seemingly only wants to get high. Her daughter is quirky, different, and a social outsider. She also has a severe nut allergy that factors heavily into the plot. Collette discovers that her mother had connections and a past that she did not know about. We learn that Collette has her own strange issues. When her daughter dies, all hell breaks loose, so to speak. In the end, we discover that everything has happened in service to a deity of hell itself, and a cult has been at the center of the film's events. The closing scene is a hold-your-breath sequence of otherworldly terror.
We reject the Trinity and pray devoutly to you, great Paimon. Hail, Paimon! Hail!